Yeah, man. Part two, man. Part two. We ain't playing no games. We not wasting no time going straight back into part two. Being a product of your environment and so forth. Fellas, talk to me. How are you doing tonight, man?
Good evening. Good evening.
Yo. What's cool in it, man? What's the word?
Hey, or I don't know what the word is. That's like what the word of the day is, man. What's
I
the word
deb
of
out,
the day,
man.
man?
Word of the day.
I the
Don't be
bum.
a leech.
That's
Don't be
three
a bum.
words.
Don't be a
It's
Don't
leech.
be a
Don't be a
Friday.
bum.
don't be a leaf. Don't be a bum.
Hey, Friday, man.
What
Yeah.
you saying? This page? You got a loan for me. I got a loan for me.
Hey,
I,
wrong man,
I didn't
wrong
get
man.
I,
Wrong.
I didn't get
No,
paid
I
today.
still
I think it's the
waiting.
wrong Friday.
Next week is my pay.
No, next week. So don't let me catch you next week. I ain't get no money, you know. I just want a little. Just want a little 200, man. Just want a little
Hey.
200, man. But anyway, guys, like, comment, subscribe, share the podcast. The Plus podcast is in full effect. Going back to our previous conversation about being a product of your environment, we touched a lot of areas the last time and so forth. Continuation of family beef and so forth. Y'all remember that? Y'all remember that?
Yeah, we remember. Well, I remember. Me know about Mikey.
Mike, you remember for sure.
No, for sure.
Mike, you remember for sure. Y'all were getting a little
Well,
heated there. A little heated.
yeah.
And check what you're saying again, a little rough and so forth. Well, even segueing from that, so we know sometimes, like we said, mommy and auntie had a beef back in the day, and they carry it on to the child, so now the child has to take part in the beef and so forth. And we see that in the communities. Um, I would say probably especially in the black communities and so forth. I've seen it as well, not specifically in mine, but in other areas. And so even aside from that, so when we're talking about being a product of your environment, so innately, sometimes we're all a product of where we come from. But how can we step out or avoid being a product of the bad environments that we may be raised up in, go to school and work in? How can we avoid that? How can we work to avoid that?
uh, how can we avoid that? I'm not too sure. It's a lot. Cause it's real deep, you know. It is deep, but I think overall, probably in a nutshell, um, yeah, it has to come down to mindset. You know what I mean? You have to want to change it. At the end of the day, you know, everybody could give you all the tools and all the riches and blah blah blah. But if you don't want to do something, you're not gonna do it. You know what I mean? So if people don't see the need and the necessity of saying, okay, what grandma and mommy and daddy passed on to me is not nourishing to me anymore. I don't want to bring this with me, then it'd be pointless. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I think it has to come down to mindset. It has to come down to what you have your mind to do, because um otherwise your environment is gonna swallow you.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's like it's a quicksand. You can see help, but you can't reach it,
Right.
unless you make a choice to do
Do
that.
they know that they need help? However,
Second, you said they do what?
do they know that they need help?
I think most people do know. I think most people do know that if not that they need help, something need to change.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Help.
most people do know that.
Yeah, when you say help, what exactly are we referring to? You mean like growing up like in a negative environment and
So
realizing
yeah,
that you
you
need
growing up in a
change?
negative environment is affecting you adversely. Is the person aware of that fact? Do they know that they need help? Are they just gonna accept it and be like, hey, this is just how it is? Is that is that how they feel it should be? Just accept whatever environment you come up in? How would
Uh,
they know they need that help? They first have to figure out and find out that it's bad for them, correct? Like we had mentioned.
yeah. I could agree with that. Yeah. What do you think, Mikey?
Yeah, no, I do agree with that first. Yes, you have to say that I want different or better for myself. I think I think that's where it starts for sure.
Yeah.
So in regards to that, because we see people that may come up in, like we mentioned, people raising up in the hood and so forth, developing the hood mentality. We've seen people come out the hood, like we mentioned, come out the hood, whatever, come up to be great citizens of society. We've seen people come up in suburban areas and come out to be quote unquote bad and so forth. So what really plays a part in that aside? Is it strictly just a mindset thing? What really plays a part in that though? That makes up them differences.
I mean, it's so much. I would say the main thing it'll have to be mindset. And another thing is to people not wanting to change, but understand that to change, basically you'll have to get up and do the work. You know, I think a lot of people like to just say, and not actually do.
They ain't really want to do the work. They just
Yeah. I think some people just like to just complain about what they're going through, but not actually want to change it. It's easier to just tell you what's happening than doing something about it. You see what I'm saying? I think that's what a lot of man, especially from the islands and everything there. I think now a lot of people, because we could look at our community as an example. Everybody will complain, oh, the children them need new school, the school bus them no good, da 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 da. But you check who gonna really sit down there and start a fundraiser and start with their money first. You know what I mean? Like say, hey, you know what? I taking my own money and put even $50 of my own hard working money towards getting the children them a new school bus or wherever it may be. You see what I'm saying?
I think that's a bigger conversation to be had too. It's like we talking about changing one's mindset.
yes.
Or like, depending on the environment that you grow up in or whatnot. What about the environment changing? When does that become like a topic? Like when does like Stick just mentioned the school system, like the education system back home, for instance, it ain't the best. It's tanking, especially since COVID, and that's everywhere. That's not just only home, but there's a lot of things that can be done to change the environment that I feel like the people responsible is not doing their part. And then you're gonna continue to see the frigged up environments that we're talking about because
But you know what's the other part to that too though, Mikey? You said the people that's in charge not doing nothing. I think the people, okay, the civilians, we won't call them civilians and government. I think the civilians need to mandate or push for the government to do something.
Protest
instead
more,
of just
per se?
sitting down. You say what?
Protest more per se?
Not like protest, but
not specifically
stand up for
protest,
themselves. You say,
but
well, protest in a sense,
protest
stand
for
up for
better.
themselves. You see what I'm saying? Because we're gonna say, oh well, the people in power ain't doing nothing, and look, government people just saying, they collect their money. But if we not demanding, I take that money, and do something with it. You see what I'm saying? Who are they? Who are they? We's nobody. You see what I'm saying? I think the community could come together and do stuff without the government influence also. For example, we're going to use WD as an example. If we raise in WD and the government build WD, within 3 years, 4 years, if WD looking like a landfill because we throw down the garbage, we don't clean up after ourselves, we mash up the place. How is that the government fault? You see what I'm saying? That's the people fault. You know what I mean?
So
if we don't keep each other accountable, hey, pick that up, fam. I live here. This is a representation of me. If three of we live in a yard together and cataract, let we say you bring your guest over and Estick shoes on the door and Estick garbage all over. They ain't gonna say Estick, They gonna say, but cataract place nasty, fam. So it's a reflection of after us.
Ain't nobody could say my place nasty for nothing.
But just think about that though. They're gonna say that's a reflection of everybody. You check.
I laugh because this man used to be the one littering the most.
Well, no, you're right. I was guilty of that. You check. I was guilty of that. But if you really sit down and think about it, you know what I mean? I think there's a lot of stuff the community could do to help the community without the government involvement. And yes, there's a lot of stuff the community can do with the government involvement that could boost us 10 times over. But you check. Look at West, for example. West is West because who? In my opinion, and I could be wrong, but the community ain't doing nothing about it.
What
Yo,
wrong with
they have okay, for example,
brother said that.
what,
It's
what,
not.
for
what,
example,
what
for
wrong
You
with
talking
example,
about what? You talking about town? You talking
for
about
in
like
town, yes,
Fred just said
town,
the town is
Freddy
stuff like
said
the
town.
buildings.
Freddy
Okay.
said town. Yes,
King
I
Street and them
understand
stuff.
there's historical items. We understand that. We're not saying get rid of your history. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying, come on, the history ain't doing nobody good if the bomb them going in the house and dying in the building collapsing. Come on, we all could agree on that. That's foolish. You know what I mean? When the cruise ship them come in, it have probably like this much building, not business. The tourists them could go to and check out. And it's a town. That's supposed to be a town. You're supposed to have tattoo parlors, food, restaurants, all kind of things, shops. You're supposed to have a variety of things in town that you could say,
And
this is
that's where the
local
cruise ship
works.
them to come in.
You say what?
I said that's where the cruise ship them to come in.
So that's our forefront,
And
fam. That's our first vision. That's what the people first can see. You check.
Yeah.
They go see the big clock tower, man. Come on, that's a nice
What
sight.
the clock tower gonna do? That ain't doing nobody nothing. You check. All them things could be locally owned business. Hey, we've been here for 20 years. We've been here for 60 years. My grandmother been here. You check. That's the community doing that together. You see what I'm saying? You want when the folks come from overseas and they see St. Croix, they see, yeah, look, we gone into town and we get locally made jewelry right here in town. By the time the boat leave, we put in our order. By the time the boat come, by the time the boat leave, look, we got our locally made jewelry right
Yeah,
here in
jewelry
town.
spot in West. I think so in town, if I remember correctly. I don't know if this still open. Should have a jewelry spot there.
Well,
But
I
I
don't know.
understand what you're
I ain't
saying.
sure.
Maybe
Me ain't
a,
sure.
a
If they
lack
do,
a
they
lack
do.
of.
But
So
you
so
check.
you're saying like a lack of businesses and so forth in
A lack.
terms in that regard. So when the
I would
people
say
come
so.
in, it's the
Definitely,
people them coming in. Go ahead, Mikey.
definitely more abandoned buildings than businesses.
Right. Like I think that's foolish, dog. Okay, it's foolish to sit there and say it's because of history. So what that mean we can't, so eventually that means St. Croix gonna just broke down because
But that's the
your house
point that
is
I'm trying to
history.
make. That's
Okay, go
the
ahead. Go ahead.
whole thing about environment. Like
Mhm.
the government can do things about that. Can they not?
Right. Yes, they can.
They are
Yeah,
the
yeah,
ones
yeah.
they're the ones that are supposed to make the decisions on whether or not these places get demolished or remodeled, or you know what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
they allow for these areas to be what they are. You know what I'm saying?
And let me ask, because do St. Croix have like town hall meetings where the public can gather in a place and vote?
Oh,
Hey, we
for
want this
sure.
statue gone. We don't care about this statue. Can we move it over? You check?
I know they have town hall meetings and stuff, but I couldn't give you no detail there.
Okay, so then that would be an example of me saying the community now would be responsible in that end. Because if the
I
government
see
say,
clips
hey,
sometimes on like VI outlet or like consortium or whatever. Like sometimes they don't have like meetings and people will be raising their opinions and stuff.
and then we gotta stand behind that now, because I can't come and tell you, well, Mikey, you know what, dog, I ain't want this fountain here. And you come and tell me, okay, we're gonna move the fountain. And then I never get back with you on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean,
So mhm.
Go ahead, Katara, go ahead.
yeah.
So even when it comes to, so you saying basic, so actually a good point you raised, because we're talking about the person having the mindset to not be a product of the broad environment, but what about, you're mentioning people who's in charge of said environment, the schools and the area where which one is raised up in.
Mm-hmm.
So actually that's a really good point, because so even saying that, so aside from the mindset they're raised up in a certain place, maybe the schools them ain't the best, maybe they ain't taking, this could be anywhere, they ain't, like you said, they ain't taking care of the schools right and so forth. So they're saying that, well, they don't really care for the place them, so why should I care? Mention littering and so forth, everybody littering, so you're seeing people littering all over the place, then everybody could just end up littering. Who could be the one to be like, hey, that's not right?
That
So
environment that is teach to you, you know what I mean? That is taught to you. Like, yo, we don't care about this building. Why should you? Look what the adults doing. Adults in, you know what I mean? So, well, I don't know if they do it now, still in school. But I remember the other time in school, the teachers would come in probably like a couple of weeks before school start and take their own money and, decorate the class for the children. Them, I don't know if they do or they don't still. But I remember at one point they used to come out of their own money and do that to
Sure.
show the children them, yo, this is for you guys. You know what I mean? I ain't asking for nothing in return, but I'm doing it to show you guys. Look, wow. You see what I'm saying?
I used to help my mother do that every summer.
You check?
It's crazy because that should be in the schools to give the bread to the teacher them to decorate this thing and so forth. So it shows who really cares.
No, but
It
that's what happens everywhere, dog. Even here in America,
but not saying
teachers
it's
don't get.
specific to one place. Not saying
Yeah,
it's just.
no, teachers
Mhm.
don't get the respect. You know what I'm saying? Like, even it's weird because even in school, you know what I'm saying? I think we not underestimated, but underappreciated the role a lot of the teachers played in our lives. You don't realize that until you get out of school. For most people,
Yeah.
I know I did for some teachers, but for most people, you don't realize and I really appreciate the value that teachers have on your life. You know,
No,
and
facts, facts.
they're like the most important human beings. They should definitely be paid, you know, a lot more than what they are paid on a
And
world.
then
Yeah,
also besides
Absolutely.
pay too, they need a lot more resources too. I think if more teachers get better pay, obviously, and better resources, they could inspire so much children to turn the other way. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I went on a trip one time in complex to America, like 1 week trip dedicated to children like supposed to drop out, like prone to drop out and thing. And that was great, dog. You check because they show us different colleges, you know, everything
Mhm.
was covered to us. We stayed in a nice little hotel kind of thing. It was nice. And I was like, imagine if this was available just on a regular basis. Yo,
Mhm.
you guys want to move to America? Here's a week trip. We'll cover everything for whoever want to move to America to show you what America is like. Or wherever the case may be, you know what I mean? That's an outside resource. You see what I'm saying?
yeah. No, it definitely comes down to resources because you make a good point. Some people have that opportunity via
Right.
family or their parents just have money or whatever the case is, but there's a lot of people that don't. And to make that resource available to allow that child to see a different perspective of life, you don't realize how important that can be to that child's life. You know what I'm saying? Because I
Open
think
up the mind a lot.
I think we had talked about this a little bit on the last time. I can't remember if it was when we were recording or not, but like perspective. Your perspective has a huge part to play. Like we used the term mindset earlier, but I want to talk about your perspective on your environment and yourself for a second. I was like, just like Stick said, this is just piggybacking on his point. Just leaving the island because we come from a small island. Just
That
leaving a
goes so
small
far,
island,
dog. That
dude,
goes
just
so
to
far,
see.
dog.
You know what I'm saying? Just to see places that you don't normally see on TV or on the internet. That alone can change your perspective on things. You know what I'm saying?
Most
Again,
def.
man that I know personally that I grew up with back home that never leave the island. Just cause whatever reason, dog. It's just their
Can't
perspective
afford
is
it or they don't
so
care for it
different.
or you know.
Yeah, whatever the reason is,
Yeah,
their
man, I
perspective is
meet a
way
Rasta man
more
like that
different.
there. I meet a Rasta man walking up east by what a school by what a school up by Pueblo East is, man.
Juanita?
Juanita. Yeah, man, I meet a Rasta man. That man say, me go Babylon for what? Babylon ain't got nothing for me. I said, but look at this no teeth Rasta man here, boy. He lie. Yeah, man, the man tell me straight up, 60-some years old Rasta man. He said he'll never go Babylon because ain't nothing in Babylon for him. So if I was a fool, I'd believe him. Like I said, but he right. He know better than me. You know what I mean? Yeah,
You see,
man.
that's it. That's his perspective. That's his
Once again,
perspective.
it all comes down to perspective. Because them real Rastaman will tell you that dog. Them man don't need to come to Babylon, dog. Them man get everything them man need. Boom. You check. They could go elsewhere. They could go to Africa. They don't need to come. They don't need to go to America. You check.
But you know, Cataract, that kind of go back to your earlier point. Like how can we change that? I think also people have to relocate in a whole. If you can't find
That's
what you're
true.
looking for here, a lot of people, just leave. And I think that's where we kind of could hold our parents and, the people before us in charge of that, or hold them accountable because they didn't want to leave because everybody know home is home.
Ain't
Home is
easy to
home.
leave. Ain't
It's
easy to
not
leave.
easy to leave, but the point is sometimes that's what it takes, like you said, to not be a product of your environment. You got to leave.
So
It's easy for some people to leave.
And
Some
that's
people
another
would be
thing too.
quick.
It's
Some people
more
would be like,
it's
yeah, I'm out.
Right. It's easier for
True.
some people to leave than they make it seem. Let's be honest. That's a thing too. You
That's
know,
true.
some people can make excuse all day. Well, my mother them yan. You know, well, my partner them stay down yan. You know what I mean? It's just up to you. That's why he started as saying his mindset to really say, you know what, fam, I love Ayo and I'm gonna be back home someday, but I got to go.
Mhm.
Even if you go Rock, even if you go Tatola, you know, you go somewhere else, that might be the life-changing game right there for you, you know what I mean?
That's actually a great point in terms of leaving, because we're sometimes you have to leave the environment and not be a product of the bar. And that's actually true. I came up here. I was 21 when I came up here. Everything, a lot of stuff was different for me. Everything, the way they do stuff up here, banking, just the way how people move up here, it's completely different. It's
Right.
completely different. You check what I'm saying? So that in terms can change one's perspective and so forth. But it's like we said, some people quick to leave, but the ones that maybe should leave and see somewhere else may not really want to leave the family and the friends behind, or whatever. They may not be able, and some people may not be able to adapt. It's sometimes maybe hard to adapt to that new culture, that new place you're going to. Everything is different. At first, you think you know it all, then you go somewhere else, and it's like,
You know nothing.
what did I really know?
Yeah, no, that's true.
Mhm.
That's true, yeah.
What did I really know? You check what I'm saying?
You know, I think if you have the right the right reason, you can go. All you need is one good reason, you know. That's what a lot of people fail to realize. All you need is just one good reason. I gonna make more money, bow. I will get a better job, bow. You know, I could get a nicer car, bow. Whatever. You just need one reason to do it, fam. People will make a billion and one reasons why you can't, but you can't find one reason too.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
So you're saying like not making excuses in that regard?
Yeah, man. You don't think, especially coming from the islands, that we have a lot of excuses in the islands? I think so, man. I think a lot of people just refuse to change.
Excuses in terms of what? When you say
excuses
excuses,
excuses in the term of not wanting to do it. Just plainly, hey, I don't want to do it.
Like being stuck in your ways type of thing?
Yeah. Stuck in your ways, definitely. And the older they get, the worse they get. We all know that old person who that's just them. They done too far gone, fam. No matter what you say, no matter
Or you
what new
saying, no,
data you
they
bring,
can't be helped?
that's the end of them now.
can't teach an old dog new tricks.
That's where they get a saying from, that because of them old folks, fam. They just stuck in their ways, dog. You know what I mean? Yeah, man.
I feel you on that there. I feel you on that there. And is the Rasta man, just to give you a little credit, the Rasta man, good with pie there. The Rasta man love his island and so forth. We know them. We know the man to move, dog. You check the Rasta
Trying
man.
to tell you
I
That's
don't
why I'm
that.
get
saying that.
I don't get a
Not
Rasta man no wrong
everybody.
though, because sometimes
Yeah,
you have to
dude.
leave, sometimes you don't. You check what I'm saying.
I think the message, the messenger, and the person who the message is going to is very important, though. You know what I mean? Like, if we talking to young men, for instance, then yeah, you know what I'm saying, broaden your horizon. Not everybody has to. I don't believe in everybody leaving your home or leaving your environment per se. Sometimes you have to craft and mold it. And again, man, who, they're gonna always stand tall regardless of the situation. You know what I'm saying? 10-toe. And I think that you have to have those kind of people at all times. But also you have to know when it's time to leave whatever situation is holding you back or holding you down. So
I think
but yeah,
I think if most people are given the opportunity to leave, even if it's to leave and not come back, or leave and come back, I think most people should take that. That alone, that opportunity alone, will change so much. Just to be able to say, yo, I went to Florida for a weekend, just that much. Okay, and you stay in St. Croix for the rest of your life, we ain't care. But just the fact that you was able to see how much people, how the temperature changed, like how much opportunity, just that simple little trip could change so much people if they, took those opportunities more serious. You know what I mean? That's just
I
me.
feel I do feel you on that. I think even aside from you don't still have to be another state, or it could be another island. You
Right.
check what I'm saying, see how other man move, see how them man raise and so forth. All that could change the perspective of it. and I like how Mikey made it like a kind of a difference between the mindset and the perspective. I kind of like how you brought that up because everything is about perspective. Your perspective, my perspective, and his perspective may be different. It may all be different, just like my mindset could be different from your mindset or similar in some ways, but it's like we all have all of our lenses a little different.
Like I'll give an example for Seth.
Mm-hmm.
I think like for example, our mindset might be let's get to the bottom, right? Let's get to the
Mm-hmm.
money. But our perspective would be different. The way that I might choose to do it is going to be
Mm-hmm.
different than the way that you choose to do it, different than the way Stick choose to do it. We might
Mm-hmm.
all have a different perspective on let's get to the bag. You check.
Yes.
I might decide to do something that's like not super risky, but like risky. You know what I'm saying? I might decide to sell con or something. You
Mm-hmm.
might decide to legally work a 9 to 5 or like you to do work overnight or
Or
whatever.
rob a
You know,
bank. I might rob a
or
bank.
Stick might decide to rob a bank, which is high risk but high reward in a sense that he
Mm-hmm.
might get a lot of bread. You know what I'm saying?
Bigger
Yes.
Or
payout.
you could do something like you could
Join the
hit the
army or
lottery.
something like that.
Like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Your perspective, there's people that sit down every day and play the lotto and a chance to win. And guess what? You might win one day, or you might play the lotto for 65 years and never win. So
Mm-hmm.
our whole perspective on get to the bag would be different. You know what I'm saying? That's why I make that point about, your mindset. You might have a mindset like, yeah, let's thug it out, but your perspective on what's really going on would be totally
But
different than
you
what's
see,
really
I
affecting.
think your mindset and your perspective go hand in hand though. I don't think they're that different. I think they go hand in hand a lot more than people give
They
them
do.
credit for.
They do.
Because if your perspective is, you know what, I need a change, then you're gonna start to make your mindset up and say, okay, how can I change? You know what? Instead of going to sleep 12 o'clock every night, maybe I need to go sleep 8 o'clock or 9, whatever it may be. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they go more hand in hand than, one or the other. You see what I'm saying?
I mean, I don't think it's a one or the other thing. I think once you have, like, everybody has a certain mindset per se. You know what I'm saying? They
Right,
have a
yeah.
certain way of processing things, so to speak. And it definitely goes hand in hand with how you perceive things, how you understand things, how you gather information, and how you intend to interpret that information. You know what I'm saying? Like, you might see a yellow light and decide to slow down. I see a yellow light, I'm hitting the gas. You know what I'm saying? Like, and guess what
Yeah.
happened? If I
No, I
behind
with you.
you,
I hit the naga. Sorry.
no,
You
but
got
hear me out. If I behind
mm-hmm.
you and I hit you, guess what? You're
Your
gonna say,
argument there.
"Oh,
Yeah. I see that.
exactly." You check, and your perspective is like, "No, the light just turned yellow. You could have go." And
Mm-hmm.
you're like, "No,
But
and I'm about to
yours
break
is
the law."
right there.
It's like,
Slow
why
down.
would I run exactly? And then now an accident happened, but it's just perspective. You know what I'm saying? Everything in
Mm-hmm.
life is about perspective. Arguments, debates. How many times do you see people hold the same point, but they're looking at it from two different angles, and it's like they
Mm-hmm.
don't realize they're arguing the same point. Me and Stickers
Yeah.
do that a lot.
Yeah.
It's like it's because it's just it's perspective. You know what I'm saying?
Y'all
It's built by
arguing and y'all saying the
Saying the
same thing,
same
but
thing.
just
Saying the
different
same thing.
ways. You check what I say.
right.
Yeah, saying the
It's like
same thing.
it's built on experiences where you've seen, where you know, the people you've come in contact with, the situation that you've been through. All that stuff shapes your perspective. There's people who is just like who's naive, you know what I'm saying? They've never seen anything, so they don't really know anything.
Mm-hmm.
And that also goes back to your environment. You know what I'm saying? There's people who's just raised under a rock.
Them the most dangerous one, them there, boy. Patrick and them. Patrick and the gang.
Not Patrick. Not
Patrick and the
Patrick
gang, the
Star.
boy. No, sir.
Not Patrick
Them is the
Star.
most dangerous, that.
Estick. Yeah, your boss a quote the last time that I think I want to reiterate it. I don't think the people that might hear that day. But please tell me you still have
Yeah, I
that
get it.
quote
I
on
got a
deck,
whole list
sir.
of quotes they ain't ready for me,
Can you
man.
please can you let it have to do something with Mira? Can you please let the people them know? Just bless us with your words, fam.
Yeah,
Come on,
well, the
talk to me.
words is look in the mirror twice before you pass it once. That's the words there. Words of the wise. Words of the wise.
I just
I'll
love
just say
that.
it one more time for you, man. You gotta look in the mirror twice
I,
before you pass her once. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
I love it, dog, because it even speaks to what Mikey mentioned before about introspection, like looking within
Right.
oneself and really paying attention and just making sure that are you good before you step out of that door? Like, are you good? Are you okay? Are you maybe not where you want to be and so forth? Maybe not. It may not just be meaning physically looking at the mirror, but really maybe alluding to looking inward as well and
Right.
so forth. What do you think, Mikey? I think that's what that's saying
I
as
mean,
well.
that's kind of why I got for it. You know, when they say look in the mirror twice, um, it could mean a couple of things. So I think an alternative meaning could be like look in the mirror once, meaning look at yourself, your physical, and also secondly look at yourself. Really, really understand yourself. You know what I'm saying? Um. So, but yeah, I mean, I don't know where Estick is pulling these
No,
quotes
I
from,
make up
but
that one, man. I got that one from watching a
here we
couple of
here
things,
we
but I got a lot of quotes here. But more or less, what I got from that
I
one,
need write a book.
what I got from that one is I think more
No
people
facts.
will be better off in this lifetime if we are able to self-reflect more than we. I don't want to say pass judgment, but for lack of better words, pass judgment. You
What
understand?
you saying? We listen and we don't judge. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, man.
No.
And that's something personally, Mike, you could tell I had to learn too. If we do more listening than talking, things would be way better off. And I am definitely guilty about that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's why you got two ears and one mouth. That's what they say. If you could just do a lot more listening.
Too many people, yeah, dude. Too many people talk and
yeah.
don't
And
listen,
then that's the same thing
and
too.
Or
a lot
they
is missed.
hearing, but they're not listening and
Yeah,
comprehending as well.
yeah.
Yeah, dog.
They
For
hear you,
real.
but like them man ain't
Yeah.
listening, fam. You check what he's
Yeah,
saying. They ain't
yeah,
understanding, but they think they do.
yeah.
So then
Yeah, I think that's good. Yeah.
that's
Man, I
a
need to write
problem.
a book, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
No
I
facts.
need,
This man over here coming with this
I
with
need
this
to
what
learn
partner
focusing
name?
on book.
Hey, the
No, for
Shakespeare
sure.
type stuff. This man coming with,
Right,
man. Come on,
right.
what?
No, because philosophy is a real thing, dude. You're
Mm-hmm.
checking, you gotta live by that.
Aristotle,
You know
man.
what I'm saying?
Jeez.
That makes us Aristotle.
You gotta live by that.
Oh, you
Dude, I ain't gonna lie. Earlier, when my baby to sleep, right? I was reading Proverbs chapter 1.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, that had get some bangers. When I Man, let me see. I got pull
Hold
one
on.
up for that.
The book of Proverbs is a
In
bad book for
Proverbs,
real.
Proverbs
That's
chapter there was actually chapter 2. Hold on.
King
I was
Solomon, right?
like,
He rated it.
yeah, dude. The wisest man that ever lived,
No,
dude.
Solomon is him, Fox. Solomon is him for real.
I try and find there was a verse that stood out to me.
A lot of stuff you could live by coming from Proverbs. A
Wow,
lot of wise
facts,
stuff
dude.
coming, like really, and even just everyday life type of stuff. Like it'd be real. I get some bad words in Proverbs for real, It really do. And I should look for it. Proverbs 1 what? I gonna help you find him a whole
It
lot.
was it was Proverbs chapter 2. Let me
It was
see.
chapter 2. Let me
I
see.
read like Proverbs a couple of chapters, but I think it's Proverbs chapter 2 that really stuck out to me.
What are you saying? Welcome to Sabbath school. That's it. Pull out
hey,
your Bible. Let's stick. We in Sabbath
all
school
right.
now, sir. Pull out your Bible.
Hey, not the Sabbath man,
Pull out your Bible.
Sabbath rest,
That-
holy rest.
Hear
Hey,
this,
like
man.
it's tune, like.
Hear this, man. It ain't verse 12, Mikey. It looking like verse 12,
No, it's not. It's
It ain't verse 12? Okay. I'm gonna help you find it. Let me see. Let's again look in your Bible, Let's got the
Boy,
Bible on your phone.
I ain't got no Bible on my phone, boy. I ain't gonna lie.
What you say?
I ain't gonna lie to you, that.
Hold on. We can find it.
yeah, but you could continue with that point. When I find it, I'm gonna let you know. But
Yeah,
it was
I
just
will.
basically about listening and wisdom. gaining wisdom and understanding.
Yeah, that's something I think a lot of people, if we could just listen more, yeah, our lives would be much, much, much better, much better. Yeah, and I had to learn that firsthand. Yeah, so yeah.
Listening more, talk less.
Mm-hmm.
All that is good stuff. Things we should do. Even sometimes we think we listen and we're not listening either. So sometimes best to just shut up, be quiet,
Yep.
let the people them say what you have to say, and then you go from there and so forth. I really want to hear this voice, Mikey. Mikey
Okay,
pulling
wait,
up.
listen. So no, I didn't chapter 3. Sorry, I had to.
Okay.
This ain't the one I was looking for, but this one stuck out to me too. It says, "Happy is the man that findeth wisdom, and the man that getteth understanding. For the merchandise of it is better than the merchandise of silver, and the gain thereof than fine gold. She is more precious than rubies, and all the things thou canst desire are not to be compared unto her. Length of the days is in her right hand, and in her left hand riches and honor. Her ways are ways of pleasantness, and all her paths are peace. She is a tree of life to them that lay hold upon her, and happy is everyone that retaineth her." Basically, it's saying if you are able to retain wisdom and get understanding, you're richer than the richest man in the world. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Wisdom and understanding. And all it takes for that is to listen and be open-minded.
Yeah, open-minded is a very big one too. That's a very big one too. Yeah, that was a good. Wait, what you said that
I
one
was
was
trying to
from?
find out.
You said that one was what?
That was Proverbs, Proverbs chapter 3, verse 13 to 17, 13
Yeah,
to 18.
yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, dude. I was reading all that. I was like, yeah, it's, there's another part in that same chapter that was talking about doing right by others, like treating others right. It says, this is chapter 3, verse 27. "Withhold not good from them to whom it is due, when it is in the power of thine hand to do it. Say not unto thy neighbor, Go and come again, and tomorrow I will give, when thou hast it by thee." Basically saying, like, if you're able to help somebody, don't tell that man, go and come
Don't do.
again tomorrow. I'll be able to help you. Check.
I did up for you
And
tomorrow,
it's like,
man.
you can,
Yeah, man,
yeah,
later,
yeah,
man,
check.
later,
Yeah,
later,
I'll be
later,
up for you
later.
tomorrow. And you know you can help that man. Yeah, check. I feel like that's more than just physical. It's like we as brothers, we see things going on, and you know you can help somebody. Instead, you decide you go, oh, tomorrow's another day, or I go, you know, at some point we're gonna have this conversation. When it's like, no, like if you gotta talk to your brother, talk to your brother. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. No, I hear that, man. I hear that.
I feel you on that. Lend a helping hand when it's possible. You check what I'm saying. Lend a helping hand. And
No,
yeah,
cause things freak up out here, dog. You know what I mean? You gotta help one another, dude.
Because if it's you want to help, you're going to want someone to, lend that helping hand and so forth. And in part of the wisdom part as well. Yeah, I mean, wisdom worth a lot, knowledge worth a lot, a lot.
What I
You,
was
you,
saying with that, cause you have
mhm.
bust off. Me no pay you a gun, but
I
the
got on
heck,
the road.
no. I think with the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, to piggyback on what we was talking about before, it's like a lot of people they have conversations to say what they have to say. They're not trying to learn or gain no wisdom or hear nothing what nobody have to say. It's like we having this conversation so I can make my point. And that's not how a wise man speak. A wise man listens. You know what I'm saying?
But no, it's old stuff. I mean, listen before you speak. All them stuff. That's it. All them stuff is like what people will be saying, and wise speak less and listen more. Old stuff still applicable today. Up to this day, them stuff is still applicable and so forth. And I think even when it comes to the environment and so forth, being in it, I think, it's very good to be very conscious about who around you. So you know who to model yourself after, who to not model yourself after, who is good examples to follow and who's not. Getting that awareness is very key and so forth. Especially if you could do that at a really young age, it will go
Definitely,
very
yeah.
far.
No, it
Knowing
would.
who, like, it get people who you see and you may interact with, but they may not have the certain traits you don't like or you don't think is good or uplifting to you. So what examples to take as you go on, whether it's in school or whatever. That's a really good thing to have at a young age, so you don't pick up. I don't want to say bad habits, but
Yeah, but that's why it is bad habits.
so in terms of that, I really do like that. So I believe, segueing into this, that when it comes to being a product of your environment, to basically sum it up, in a way, we're all a product of where we come from. Technically, we're all a product of where we
Sure.
raised up in, but we can make the choice as we once
100%.
we it, no, for sure. But as we, grow and age and so forth, when we come to that realization, I say, hey, this is cool, whatever, but this and this ain't good. This and this needs to change. Once we realize how the environment is affecting us, we
So I
can
have a
take.
sorry, not to cut you off,
No,
but
go on, for sure. Go ahead. You good?
you mentioned us all being a product of our environment, which I agree with. I
Mm-hmm.
what are like positive um what are positive effects of your environment?
What are positive
What
effects of your
you,
environment?
let me I'm asking like a specific question to you. The
Mm-hmm.
environment that you grew up in, what are a few positive aspects of what you would call your environment? Could you
As in
name?
growing up or currently no?
No, not now. Where you grew up, where all of we grew up, St. Croix,
Mm-hmm.
Santa Cruz.
What's some positives about it? You're trying to say?
Yeah,
I'll say the
or
culture.
because we basically focus, I think, on the negative. We
Mm-hmm.
were talking about the growing up in a negative
Mm-hmm.
environment. I'm asking, like, what are some positives? Because I think, going back to perspective, I think we do this same thing a lot. We talk a
Mm-hmm.
lot about what is going wrong in our communities,
Mm-hmm.
and not about
What's going right?
how how we can do things right. We always say,
That's an
oh,
excellent point. Yep.
we ain't doing this, or we're not doing that, or we should be doing. Sometimes we do say we should be doing this, we should be doing that, but what are we actually doing? That what are some aspects of what are some I don't even know the right word I'm looking for right now.
I would say culture. Culture is one for me. What are some of the good stuff about it? I'll say culture. Yeah. I like the
I think
overall
is
culture.
also good. As a community, I believe we do definitely look out for each other and so forth. We more, I would say, I kind of see this more, we're more to help one another out as opposed to like up here. They say it's a dog eat dog world. I don't think it's fully like that up here. It's people up here are nice too, whatever. But back home, there's a sense of community. You know, your neighbor will help you out and so forth. You need a ride, someone more prone to you walking down the road, someone more prone down there to like, hey, you need a ride? You going
And you
Shanti,
also
wherever?
more prone to trust them back
Yeah, and
home.
you're more willing to hop in the car. So if I walking
Yeah.
down the street over here, someone pull up to me, ask me for a ride. I said, no, dog, I good. I good, fam. I good. Me, man, I could be walking to Orlando for crying out loud. They said nothing. I good.
What?
I,
No,
I
sir.
am
Where?
good. I
Walking
said,
to Orlando.
yeah, me ain't going over there at all. So I go and keep walking. But back home, I'm more prone. The sun hot, about to rain. Somebody pull up next to me and be like, hey, I trying to you know, yeah, you need a ride? And it's like, yeah, I'm more likely to do it. So it even shows the perspective in that regard. So the community
Mm-hmm.
aspect, I believe, is a good thing, and I think everybody gets a piece of that and so forth. You also, I think there's a lot of people back home, especially when I grow up. There's people that I see that try and guide the youth. They got a lot of people back home, I would say, that do their best when they see them trying to give the youth a good word. And sometimes, as young people, we don't really want to listen to the older folks, but as you get older, you realize, they were talking some good sense into you and they were really trying to assist you. It may not be a family member, it could be somebody who see you. It might be a policeman somewhere, it might be some teacher that talk to you on the side. I believe I really do like that aspect because it's those things what they tell you is the people in your community really who try to help you and guide you along the way, give you a little tip, a little advice, and so forth. I think that those really stay with you and really make a good impact on you, as opposed to like even your parents might try to tell you you need to stop this and that, you need to do this and that. But I feel like sometimes when you hear it from somebody else in the community, like an outside person you respect and so forth, it can really go a long way, and that really sticks with you and can lead you in a good direction.
I can agree with those things too. Stick said culture, you said community. Yeah, there's a lot. I think. Well, maybe not a lot. Some people might not consider it a lot, but I can agree with those things as positive attributes from our environment,
our home environment, or bringing in such environment.
our upbringing. Yeah, I think also our connectivity to nature. That's something that I don't really see as much up here. Obviously, if you live in a country or something over here, then you'd probably grow from animals and that kind of stuff. But back home, I think it's more like, you hear the rooster crowing in the morning, and like you hear like at night, like the crickets, like stuff
the
like
neighbor
that.
dog barking.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff. You don't really up here. It's not really. I don't know. Something not serene about it. It's just or something that's
concrete
serene
jungle.
about that. Yeah, exactly.
It's like concrete jungle. It's like you easier to see stars back home than up here.
What?
Fox, nature, and I think all of those things, being surrounded by water, beach 15 minutes in any direction for the most part, it makes you a more like laid back person too, in the sense that
it
not
calms
everybody. You have some people that are gonna be hustlers regardless, but yeah, it's like I'll get there when I get there, and I think a lot of people have that mentality, and it just got passed down. That might be a cause for why we have a lot of those negative environments, I guess you could say. But yeah, no, I just wanted to see what y'all talk about that in terms of like positives on the environment. You don't got get some people on your show with like some people from home with like an at-home perspective. You know what I'm saying? That would be.
Oh no, for sure.
That would be because I feel like, dude, you don't realize how fast time flies, dude.
Until you come American.
Yep.
Yeah, dude. And they're up here for 7, going on 8 years now, dog. And it went by like this.
It's almost 3 for me. It's almost 3 for me. Check what I'm saying, and home, back where your hometown changes a lot while you're gone too. So, some things may not be the same. Some things may change. So the perspective you, as a person your age, had when you was there, the folk at that age now today may not have the same perspective. The environment may be a little different. Things may be a little different wherever society changes. Therefore, people change along with society. So all that is a factor. So that is a good thing. That is a really good thing to really get like a first-hand experience from folks that live back home still experiencing it, and they could give their cup of tea and so forth. We'll do that. That'll be a show one day. That will be a show one day. I'll put that into motion. Well, I will put that into motion, most definitely. Most definitely. Estick, you going to give the closing prayer or what? What going on here? Any final quotes that I could go to sleep good on, man?
Let me check.
You go open up the good book and tell me something nice so I can feel good about myself, please.
Well, pertaining to the conversation about, your whole environment and, all of that good stuff would just be, you can't keep what you can't manage. You only keep what you manage. So basically, long story short, I think more people need to manage good habits, good relationships, good positive mindsets, good perspective, you know. We need to maintain that, you know, instead of like Mikey brought up a little earlier. Well, we was only focusing on the bad part of town, you know. What about the good part of town? You see what I'm saying? And you know that could apply.
You
That was a
hold,
good thing he did.
My fault. You say
hold
what?
on. You can't keep what you can't manage.
You only keep what you
What's the
can
second
manage.
part?
You only keep what you can manage. So if you have a
Okay.
bad attitude and you've been maintaining
It's
a
not what
bad
I heard after.
attitude, you know, that's all you have, you know. So that's one of the
So
20,000
that's
codes.
almost like also saying don't bite more where you could chew.
In a sense. In a sense. In a sense.
Don't bite off more than you can chew.
Repeat the quote one more time.
It says you can't keep what you can't manage. You only keep what you can manage.
I agree with that. There's only so much you can do.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you don't try, you know, one thing at a time,
Yeah,
one day
yeah,
at a
yeah,
time,
yeah,
one thing at
yeah.
a time.
And then you know, like for example, like bad relationships. You know, if you can't manage a healthy relationship with somebody, you know, and that's regardless who the somebody is, any relationship, work, personal, professional, you know, whatever, just let it go. You know, you can't manage it, you ain't gonna keep it. It's not a healthy stuff. You know what I mean? So that's and then another thing I could say here is people will never fight you to stay at the bottom. You know, I think more people need to strive to go to the top because who will ever fight somebody to stay in last place?
Not I.
Me neither.
Why everything has to be a fight, though? Why,
That's life, fam. That's just life in general. You know what I mean? That's life in general. That
No,
He
no,
he
no.
have a
That's
point,
you
fine.
you
know,
know.
that's life in
That's
general.
fine.
That,
That's
but
fine.
you know, to close it off, yeah, that's all I have to say. Just do what you got to do. Make the sacrifices. You know, it might be scary and ifs ands or buts, but you know, if more people could just say, you know what, I have one good reason I'm gonna do it. Hey, shit, jump on it, do it, man.
If and buts.
Big butts.
BDM.
Yes, sir. Closing time for
On
show.
that
Closing
note,
time for show.
on that note, because
I
we
like that
about to go
natural.
left. I do too. I like a natural too. We about to go left to check what you saying. Hey guys, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for watching. You'll be seeing these guys a little bit more often in
Pick up
time.
yourself, man.
Peace out. We gone. K Plus Podcast. We out. Y'all have a good day.